Hi everybody, welcome back. Today, as you probably saw from the title, we got a few Dollar Tree meals and they are actually all lasagnas. I'm here to show you 3 different ways that you can have lasagna. As of me standing right here, this is already another day for me. I've already done and made, and we've already had the lasagnas, so I know the results, which I will go over more in detail after the food portion, because I'm not going to do it in each individual because we had them all at once. I mean, we had all of the lasagnas, so we could all try them. Now, if there are things that I think are important to know that because of the end result, though, such as I can think of one time right now that I know I'm going to pop in and say, hey, you need to make sure at this section the food ingredient needs to be soft before being layered into the lasagna. I will do that. This makes a lot of food. Let's just get right into it. Let's get right into our lasagnas. I've been blabbing enough. Let's go. All right, I prefer to boil my lasagna noodles before I stick these in the oven, so that's what I'm doing now. And also I wanted to mention that for these 3 lasagnas, I picked up 1 box of the noodles. I counted, there are 18 in there, so I'll be using 6 noodles per lasagna. Here's my pans all ready to be filled. For the traditional lasagna, you will need lasagna noodles, Parmesan cheese, margarine, 2 packages of mozzarella, some milk, a can of pasta sauce, flour, and meatballs. I'm going to go ahead and grate this mozzarella cheese. So these are the meatballs that were in that package. So I got the cheese all shredded. It's not very uniform because I got big chunks and shreds, big shreds, little shreds. Wow, that pasta is loud. But, it made quite a bit. This is 8 ounces. Each package was 4 ounces. Now, with these meatballs, I'm going to be just going to cut them into small pieces so they'll be like ground meat in our pasta sauce. This is all our meatballs, and I'm just going to place it in this pan, and then I'm going to open up, my can of pasta sauce and pour the entire can of pasta sauce on here, and then I'm just going to warm it and let it warm on low and let the meat cook into that pasta sauce for a little bit. I'm really sorry about the noodles bubbling. I may have to do a voiceover, we'll see. Anyway, we're going to put the sauce in here and then onto the bechamel sauce to put on our lasagna. There's a small amount of pasta sauce left in this can, so I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit of water in it, swish it around, and then pour it in. I want to get every last bit of it. All right, on to make our bechamel sauce. To our saucepan here, we're going to add 1/4 cup of that margarine. Also, my lasagna noodles are done over here, so I'm going to drain them in the sink and put a little oil on them so they don't stick together. So for this bechamel, we would need 1/4 cup of butter, 1/4 cup of flour, a pinch of salt and pepper. Traditional bechamel doesn't have Italian seasoning or garlic powder, but I'm going to add a small amount of that. Remember, you can get both of those seasonings at your local Dollar Tree in their spice section. All right, I think that is I'm going to call that melted. Let's get our flour in there. And we're making a roux, so we do want to get this cooked a little bit with a little bit of color. How are you going to make a lasagna without ricotta? I mean, just because I use ricotta, so I say that. We're going to make a bechamel. Okay, you will also need 3 cups of milk. Now, the milk that I used, as you guys saw, was the milk from Dollar Tree, and it's warm because it's shelf-stable milk. But if you're pulling milk out of the fridge, you're probably going to want to stick it in the microwave a little bit so it's warm, and you're not adding ice cold milk to that mixture. Just a quick interruption here to say that you need to have the milk hot. It needs to be hot milk, or you'll end up with the clumps that I had. But if you use hot milk, it'll be much smoother, much easier to work with. So hot milk, guys, warm it up. Microwave, stove top somewhere. Now I'm going to start adding in my milk. So 3 cups of milk. I'm trying to use my whisk that is plastic and not metal, so I don't scratch up the coating. Okay, so a little bit of salt and pepper. My mixture, I've had it in a little bowl. It's a little heavier on the pepper than it is the salt because there's already salt in that imperial spread quite a bit. Okay, and now I'm going to add in a little bit of garlic powder. And some Italian seasoning. This is what it looks like. Can, the jar. And this is what the garlic powder looks like. Oh, focus, focus. Now we're going to need to bring this to a boil. So definitely make sure that your milk is hot. Even if it's room temperature Dollar Tree milk, warm it up in the microwave, because I have been pressing out those clumps of the flour margarine mixture this whole time. We're getting there, we're getting there. Oh, also, I'm going to add in about 2 tablespoons of Parmesan into this, so it's not so bland. That's the Parmesan. All right, I'm gonna keep stirring this. Let it thicken up a little bit more. All right, I think our sauce is good to go. We are ready to layer this lasagna and then move on to the next one. Hey, you guys, remember how I said I was gonna oil those lasagna noodles? Well, I forgot to do that, so now they're kind of stuck together. But, you know, honestly, that's how cooking is. You can't expect everything to be perfect, and I hope that you'll understand that this is real life cooking and you just got to work with it. We're going to start with putting a scoop of the sauce, the red sauce, in there. I'm going to try to get it without any of the meat, but we'll see. So remember I said 6 noodles per lasagna today. So we'll see how these fit in here. I'm going to have to trim them. Oh, you get my hand. I'm sorry. I snipped it off. Yeah, look, because I did not oil those. What a mess. Okay, so I think that's about 2. I'm so embarrassed. Next, we're going to put a layer of the bechamel sauce. Oh, that thickened up so nice. All right. Make sure you got enough for 3 layers. I'm going to do 3 layers. Okay, and now I'm going to do the meat sauce. Now a little bit of mozzarella. A few shakes of Parmesan. Rinse and repeat. I'm going to get this one covered, and then it'll be ready to go in the oven. And there are no raw eggs in here, as there would be with traditional lasagna. So we are just getting everything combined. Again, I apologize, truly apologize for the mess of those noodles. So I like to put toothpicks in anything that I cover with aluminum foil so that the aluminum foil doesn't stick on the cheese. Ooh, you know what? I'm going to put a few shakes of the Italian seasoning on here. 350 degrees for about half an hour. And then I would say you can pull the aluminum foil off and make sure that the cheese is melted. I left it in the oven the whole time I made the other two lasagnas, so about an hour. For the Mexican lasagna, you will need lasagna noodles, 2 cans of chicken, some olives, some tomato paste, 2 small packages of cheddar cheese, a packet of taco seasoning, some refried beans, some seasoning blend, and a can of Rotel. Next, we're going to work on the Mexican lasagna. About a third of the bag. We're going to be getting more flavoring from the Rotel anyway. Okay, so put a little bit of oil in that pan. I would say about a tablespoon. I should turn the heat on. All right, this is just the colander that I drained those lasagna noodles in. I'm going to be draining the 2 cans of chicken. And as per one of my viewers suggested, to give them a rinse and then they won't taste so much like the canned chicken. I ended up using 1 can of the white chicken and 1 can of the dark chicken, and it's not coming into focus. I've also opened up the can of Rotel, and we are going to be combining all of those items into this pan now. Okay, so I wanted to mention to you guys, do you know the tomato paste can? Okay, tomato paste is very pricey at Dollar Tree at $1.25 because you can get them at Walmart or grocery stores for much less. But this is a Dollar Tree meal, so of course I had to get the can there. But just letting you guys know, you know, sometimes Dollar Tree isn't the cheapest place, but if that's all you have access to, by all means, you know, of course, the easiest place to go. Okay, so now we're going to be putting in 1/4 cup of the tomato paste. You don't need all of it. Where's my spoon? So I've measured out 1/4 cup. And to this also, we will be adding some water. All right, so that's half cup. Oh, I haven't put the chicken in yet. We gotta get the chicken in there too. All right, so we're gonna wanna let this cook for a little bit. Let me go ahead and get the taco seasoning in there. Start with 1 tablespoon. We can always add more, but we can't take out. All right, I'm putting another half cup of water in there. All right, so now we're gonna let that cook together for a little bit. Turn my heat down some. I'm gonna go ahead and open my refried beans. I don't need to shred the cheese because I got the shredded cheese. Blah, blah, blah. The cheese I got's already shredded. And I'm gonna go ahead and slice some olives from the olive can. We are ready to layer this. So let's do 1 layer together and then we will time lapse the rest. I guess we want a little bit of sauce in the bottom of this. So we don't have anything that doesn't have chunks of things in it. So I'm just gonna put a very light layer of our mixture here. We are going to be doing layers of the noodles, and then a layer of beans, and then the sauce, then some cheese and some olives. I think some olives. We'll see. I'm not fond of olives, but everyone else in my family loves olives, so we'll see. Okay, I need a spoon for the refried beans. All right, so the refried beans, I warmed up a little bit in the pouch. That pouch is microwavable. I just put it in there for a minute, just enough to be able to spread it around. And just kind of plan on using a third of the bag for each layer. This one is ready to go in, so I'm going to do the toothpick thing like I did on the first lasagna as well. And then that's going to go in the oven. That first one, I've just actually just left it in the oven while I prepared this one. I'll let you know how long that ended up being in after we take everything out. All right, so I'm putting that one in the oven now. Still at 350 degrees. Oh, it poked right through. This is not heavy duty foil.
For the cheesy lasagna, I used lasagna noodles, some milk, some crispy onions, a box of Hungry Jack au gratin potatoes, seasoning blend, and margarine.
I placed about a tablespoon of oil into my pan here, and now we're going to add the rest of the seasoning blend. We're just going to cook that up. This is going to go into our last lasagna. I don't know exactly what name to give it because it was supposed to be a pierogi lasagna, except now I have been to a couple different Dollar Trees multiple times and they've been out of the mashed potatoes, so I had to go with a completely different route altogether. But we're just going to cook these up so we get some vegetables in our dish, and we're also going to get the Hungry Jack au gratin potatoes cooking. So I poured the rest of what was left in our milk carton into the measuring cup here. I'm going to be putting 3 cups of liquid in here. So the box calls for 2 cups of water and 2/3 cups of milk. I would like a little bit of extra liquid, so I'm going to bring it to 3 cups. So I'm just going to fill up the rest of this with the 3 cups of water. Looks like it's about 1.5 cups in there, so another 1.5 cups. Anyway, you're going to need 3 cups of liquids. All right. I'm zoomed in pretty far into my pot because I don't want you to see my dirty stovetop. I haven't cleaned it. I mean, we're in the middle of cooking. I'm not going to stop to clean it, right? Okay, so we got 2 tablespoons of butter. We've got our 3 cups of liquid. Everything is going in here. The cheese packet. Whoa, yeah, I forgot, zoomed in. The cheese packet from the au gratin potatoes. Just going to give that a stir before I add the potatoes in, but the potatoes are going in too. I didn't measure the margarine exact. I just did, a plot, but I think that's about 2 tablespoons. And now the box of the potatoes. We're going to bring this to a boil, and then as soon as it boils, we're going to turn the heat off and let it simmer for about 15 minutes, stirring it occasionally. And then we're going to layer our lasagna. Another interruption here for you. The potatoes, we have them simmering on the stovetop. Let them simmer there for 15 minutes, and then take one of those little potatoes out and test it. Make sure it's nice and soft. Mine weren't nice and soft, and I just thought, oh, well, while they're in the oven, they'll soften up the rest of the way. They didn't for me. I don't know, maybe they will for you, but if I were to do it again, I would make sure the potato is soft before I start layering those cheesy potatoes into the lasagna. Now, on a positive note, when I had them for leftovers the next day, they were completely soft. So the vegetables here, they're kind of bland. So I'm going to go ahead and add some salt, pepper, and garlic powder to that. We're now ready to layer our potato lasagna. Right, just as before, we're going to do a layer of the lasagna noodles. I lined this pan with parchment paper because it's not one of those glass ones, so it'd be easier to take out. I don't have any more of those glass pans. Those 2 are the only ones I got. So we've got our noodle layer. Now we're going to put our potato layer. Just as before, try to get about a third of the mixture in there. Now our vegetables, about a third of those. I'm just going to use the same spoon. Actually, do half, because we don't need any of these on our top layer. So do half the vegetables, because we got those crunchy onions that are going on the very top layer. And that is our layering. Now we're going back to the noodles. So I'm going to put you on a time lapse to finish it. All of our layering is done, and now I'm going to open up the crispy onions, and we're going to put some of those on top. All right, that's going in the oven, uncovered, 350 degrees for about 20 minutes. Here's our 3 complete lasagnas. All right, so let's talk about what we thought of these lasagnas. Overall, I will say that everybody thought the potato one was second place. Everybody thought that. 3 of us, including myself, said that the Mexican lasagna was the best, and that the traditional lasagna was the worst. However, one of my kids said they didn't really like the Mexican lasagna, but they did like the traditional lasagna. So that's our family's opinions. Now let me go into a little bit of detail though. We who said the traditional lasagna was in last place actually really love lasagna the way I make it normally without going the Dollar Tree route. Here's what I would do differently. I would not use a can of pasta sauce. I would make my own, and you can do that with Dollar Tree ingredient. They have canned tomatoes. I use crushed tomatoes and tomato paste, and Italian seasoning, salt, pepper, garlic powder. I would like to, in the future, make an ultimate lasagna, an ultimate traditional lasagna. We're going to make our own sauce. The mozzarella cheese is great. It's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. The bechamel sauce in that traditional lasagna was fantastic. I think that is why my one kid who usually doesn't like lasagna thought this was great, because there was no ricotta in it. So I'm going to make this again. The meatballs, oh, I'm so sorry to say this. I don't like them. I don't like the taste of them. I can't eat them. I think that was probably the worst part for me. Nobody else complained about the meatballs, I don't think. So yeah, I would make my own sauce. I would not use those frozen meatballs. I would either not use any meat, or I would use maybe bacon, or if they ever get the ground sausage in by me, which I don't, I've never seen it, that maybe, or chop up the smoked sausage. Yeah, I mean, you got choices. You got choices. Or the chicken, you can put chicken in there. The canned chicken rinsed. Thank you so much, viewer. That rinsing the canned chicken was great in the Mexican lasagna, because it didn't even taste that I was eating canned chicken. The Mexican lasagna, like I said, 3 of us thought that was the best one. It tasted like it had super fresh ingredients in it. It tasted high quality. Let me think if there was anything else. I would have liked some sour cream with it, but there's never any sour cream at my Dollar Tree. But for the next day for leftovers, I actually had had the lasagna in a soft tortilla that I made with some sour cream, and it was even better. I mean, like 10 out of 10. Okay, the potato lasagna, as I told you during the cooking, you need to make sure that in that simmer pot where you're simmering the potatoes and the cheese mixture, that the potatoes get soft, because the amount of time, 20 minutes, 30 minutes that we put it in the oven, that wasn't enough time to finish getting soft. And I think if I would have let it cook on the stovetop until it was soft. Yeah, so I tested it, and in my mind I thought it'll get soft the rest of the way in the oven. But I think if I would have just left it on for another 5 minutes, it would have gotten soft right there in that pot. And then it would have been wonderful that first day. And I think the cheesy potatoes worked really well because it took care of the cheese. So budget-wise, you guys, that was so inexpensive. Yeah, so I did a lot of talking and analyzing. I would absolutely, again, make all of them with the exception of the traditional one needs to have homemade sauce and either no meat or a different meat, not the meatballs. This one was fun. We did not, leftovers, like I've had the Mexican lasagna and the potato lasagna for leftovers. Nobody has had the traditional lasagna as leftovers, not even the kiddo who said that was the better one. Yeah, so that one's probably nobody's gonna eat that. It is what it is, I do this to show you. Now here's the thing, just because I said I did not like that one, if you are okay with the canned sauces, then you're set. If you're okay with those meatballs, you're set too. I should have pan fried the meatballs after I chopped them up. I think that maybe would have helped with the strange flavor that they have. And I have another pack of those. I gotta think about what I'm gonna do because I want it to be something tasty. All right, so I did a lot of talking in this. I don't know if I'm leaving in all this talking because this video is, oh no, I can't leave it all in. It's 11 minutes long. I got a few more ideas for meals in my head from Dollar Tree. I got quite a bit of ingredients. So I hope you leave me a like and subscribe. I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.